Hi you guys, I hope you're having a great start to your week so far. I am going to share about clean eating from my new book, Nourish. You can find my book at nourishbook.com. And in Nourish, I talk about how to care for our body and soul, and I also talk about my own personal journey to getting healthy and getting fit God's way, because really, I believe if we don't address our body and our soul, then we're leaving a huge part or a huge component of our health unattended to. And so we'll always find that we're finding ourselves on a cycle of diets or other things that are just temporary. So I talk about how to get healthy for the whole journey and enjoy the journey. So not just, going on a diet or a quick fix, but this is something that you can maintain for your whole life and actually enjoy your everyday life, find energy, find balance again. I talk about how I went through not only eating disorders like anorexia and bulimia, but binge eating, emotional eating, anything that you can pretty much go through when it comes to unhealthy eating patterns. I have been there, and I'm only 32 years old, so I can definitely attest to understanding what it's like to have an unhealthy relationship with my body and with food, and how I've maintained a healthy relationship now with food in my body for over 10 years. And so I talk about that in my book, Nourish. But I'm going to talk to you today about specifically clean eating. And how many of you guys have heard of the term clean eating? I'm sure that most of you have, because it's a pretty popular term now. If you type on Google or on Pinterest or really anywhere, you'll come up with tons of feedback on clean eating. And clean eating to me is, and I talk about this in my book, it's really just unprocessed foods. So foods that are not man-made and have tons of preservatives and things added, but they're things that God designed for our bodies to eat. So there are things that nourish our bodies. You might think of things like fruits and vegetables, whole grains, lean proteins, things like that. We know that God has designed these things for us to eat, and so they just help our bodies work right. They help our bodies function. But I'm going to talk quickly about just 10 different ways to make clean eating a lifestyle. So not just what is clean eating, but 10 different ways of how can I jump on board this clean eating lifestyle. And these are all found in my book. And today I'm going to talk about the first 5, and then next time I'll talk about the second 5. So the first one is allow yourself to be on a journey. So if you are just starting off with clean eating, then I would encourage you to view this as a journey. It's not a diet, it's not a quick fix or a short-term thing. It's really about the rest of your life. Like, how can I nourish my body and treat it right, so that not only do I have, feel better in my jeans and feel like I look better when I look in the mirror, but how do I feel good, throughout my day and have energy, where I'm not going on these energy slumps, at 3 o'clock, where I'm not having cravings and overeating sometimes and then eating healthy sometimes, things like that. How do I see this as a long-term lifestyle? And it's really about allowing yourself to be on a journey. So, see this as, I'm going to make small changes where I can start right now and then add more changes as I go. So it's not just about a one-time thing, but it's about, making daily choices and saying, okay, well, that didn't work out, so let me try this instead. And it's all about the journey. Number 2 is living a healthy lifestyle won't look the same for everyone, so choose what works for you. Again, this is getting rid of the mentality of all or nothing, so like a diet mentality, and saying, okay, I have to do it perfectly exactly how this person does it, or else it's not really clean eating. Clean eating is really your own interpretation of, what is the healthiest form of me that I can be. And so if that means that it looks like practicing yoga, or if it means weight training, and if it means eating vegetarian, or if it means eating, only seafood, or eating, tons of red meat, whatever, is the cleanest form of what works for you, find that and live that out, because it is going to look different for everybody. For me, I know that eliminating the main things are white flour, processed breads and carbs, and white sugars have been remarkable at just changing my health and my energy levels. I used to feel just really like I was craving sugar all the time. I was always feeling tired. I was always feeling bloated, just not good, until I cut those things out. And so for me, clean eating, that is like my focus, is getting rid of the processed white carbs and the sugar. And then from there, I've made changes even further that have really helped impact my body in a really beneficial way. Number 3 is eat at home as much as possible. So this doesn't mean that you can't go out to eat anymore. It just means cook at home more often than you eat out. So if you eat out 5 times a week, practice bringing your lunch to work, twice a week at first, and start there, and then move it on up to maybe 4 times a week of bringing and packing your lunch. And then maybe every day, then you can start to eat your own packed lunches at work, and then that way you're not getting takeout every single time on your lunch break. So it's all about making small changes over time, like we talked about, and seeing it as a journey. But also just practice finding things that work for you at home. So if you have a really busy long evening, know that a crock pot is a great option, because then you can come home to a healthy meal, or even doing some meal prep ahead of time so that you have a few cut up washed vegetables and some protein that is ready to go and throw onto a salad, for example. So do what works best for you so that you can eat at home and cook at home more often than you eat out, because oftentimes when we eat out, there's so much stuff that's added to food, even if it's healthier, that we don't even know is in our food. And so it just makes an impact on our health and our bodies overall when we eat out versus eating at home, because we know what's going into our food when we're cooking at home. And then last but not least, have a handful of go-to recipes. So this is, for me, I have a few things that are staples that I have all the ingredients almost all the time ready to go. And so that way, if I didn't plan ahead, I didn't prep ahead, I know that there are a few options that I can always go to. So I always have eggs in my fridge, for example. I have some Ezekiel wraps that are in my freezer. And if nothing else works, and usually some hummus or Greek yogurt or some healthier clean eating mayo and mustard. So for example, I would know that I could make an egg salad sandwich or like a breakfast burrito in like 5 minutes if I need something really quick and easy. So just have a few go-to recipes on hand, maybe like 5 of them that you can always go to, and you know that you pretty much have all the ingredients usually on hand. That way, if you're hungry, you have nothing made, you have a great option that is kind of in your the back of your mind that you can pull out and make. So I hope that these 5 tips helped you if you're just starting your transition into clean eating, and be with us next week where I share the next 5 kind of transitions into a clean eating lifestyle. And make sure, if you haven't picked it up already, that you check out Nourish at nourishbook.com. Hope you guys have a great rest of your week.